Hello YouTube, John back, beer, bourbon, and bushcraft, coming at you from the heart of bourbon country in Kentucky. Tonight we are going to talk about Avalanche Amber Style Ale, Maker's Mark, very good bourbon, and as a bushcraft tool, I'm going to go through my EDC Fire Kit and let you know what I carry every day to start fires. Well, let's get going. We'll start with the Avalanche Amber Style Ale. This is brewed and bottled in Breckenridge, Colorado at the Breckenridge Brewery. Let's see how this guy is. Sounds like it got some nice carbonation in there. Nice medium color. You can tell it's building a little carbonation in there. Got a nice head on it. Give her a sniff. Yeah, you can definitely pick up the caramel malts in there. Nice light hops. Well, for my taste, I like the light hops, as you all know so far from watching my videos. Probably some Great Northerns. See how she tastes. Moderately carbonated. It's got a nice finish on it, not too strong. They might use a little Cascade in their hops, but it's not even close to overpowering. It's nowhere close to an IPA, but it does have a little, just a small bit of hop snappiness at the finish, which is refreshing, but not overpowering. It's got a sweeter taste to it. It's not overly sweet, like having like an overly sweet tea or something like that, but at the beginning it has a little sweetness on your tongue that finishes. I think the snap of the hops at the end kind of complement that and finish it off very well. This is a very, very tasty beer. A little bit of chocolate malt, mostly caramel malt. Very well balanced. Not super carbonated, but carbonated well enough. It doesn't snap on your tongue. It rolls over your tongue nice and smooth. Very good beer. I'm impressed with Breckenridge on this one. That is a very tasty beer. I would have to give this a 9. I would definitely grab this and drink it just to have a good tasting beer. You know, sit around bullshitting with friends, sitting outside by the fire. I could definitely throw a few of these back. That is a very tasty beer. Alright, now we'll move on to the bourbon. So bourbon tonight, we're going to talk about Maker's Mark. Again, I'm using some little bottles so I can get some reviews done and not have to spend $3,000 or $4,000 on bourbon, which I actually wouldn't mind, but really just can't do that. So we'll do this. This was the last family-owned distillery in Kentucky, and unfortunately they were bought out recently by Jim Beam, which was bought out by a Japanese conglomerate. But Jim Beam bought it. It was a family-owned company, 143 years. Went to the tour. It was incredible. Had a great time. They taught us all kinds of stuff. Soon after that, found out Jim Beam bought them. Jim Beam's owned by the Japanese. That kind of pisses me off. Okay, this is Kentucky bourbon. The company's owned by Japanese. Now, seriously, Kentucky bourbon? How much more American can you get than that? And we allow them to buy this? No. Now, I'm not saying anything against the bourbon they produce, because I've been to their facility, seen how they make it, talked to their people, had a great time, tasted their awesome bourbon. I find that very sad. It's a sad state of affairs. I actually really wish I had still had on my I Miss America patch on my hat for this. Who's your daddy? I guess in the case of Maker's Mark, Japanese. But we'll still go ahead and taste it, even though that pisses me. Now, like I said, I've been through their tour. I know their process. It's a wheat-based, which I really like, which my wife and I have sampled many larger bottles than this. We both enjoy this bourbon. It's very tasty. So I can tell you before I even taste this, I'm going to enjoy it. It's a wheat-based, so it's got a nice sweetness to it. The amount of wheat they put into it is very well balanced. It's got a nice char to it. The amount of time they char their barrels it gives different tastes to the bourbons. The char they have, their time, they don't tell you what it is, but it is a secret for making Maker's Mark, which gives it this distinct taste. They also age it a lot longer than most other bourbons. So you're looking, when you buy a bottle of Maker's Mark, it's 6 to 7 years old. Very good stuff. They also have a product that's called Maker's 46. It has some extra caramelized staves inside of the barrel that is, if you have the chance, pick it up and taste it. I'll tell you, I'll be doing a review on it in the future, but it is very tasty. One of my favorite bourbons. Aside from this, like I say, this is a very tasty bourbon. Tonight for Bushcraft, I'm going to go over my EDC Fire Kit. This is something I carry, and I've got a small pouch that I carry that goes with me everywhere. This is where I have all my fire starting materials. It's a Altoid size tin wrapped in Thanks Creek Stewart and a Paca band. It is a Ranger band that I got from an Apaca box that I got from Creek Stewart. Keeps it closed. Nice little band there, a nice little tin. What I've got inside here, first I have a bunch of cellulose guitar picks. You carve these up and they light up really quick. They're made of plant material. They're nice, small. Make a nice fire tinder. I have a nice piece of flint. It's actually an arrowhead, as you can see. But this is an actual piece of flint that I carry in my firebox. And I've said before in my videos, the shit hasn't hit the fan. We are not living like cavemen, so I have a big lighter. And guess what? First thing I'm going to do to start a fire, that. I have a nice ferro rod. It's 1/4 inch round, about, I'd say probably 2 inches long. Nice little ferro stick. Got a little lanyard on it, it's a cheap little lanyard, but I can wrap it my hand so I can strike it. There we go. Got a fire rod so I can throw some sparks. Throwing sparks about 3,500 degrees. I'm not going to do it here on the table in the middle of my kitchen, but it can throw some sparks. It's a good ferro rod. I also carry a little tin of live fire. Now this is a neat little product. It's put out by Live Fire. It's a small little metal tin, and it's full of a petroleum-based gel. And what you do is you slide the top back a little bit, and this one's not open yet. Let me open it real quick here. Full of plastic coating on it, off of it. Okay, so it's a small metal tin, and you slide it back, and you can see it's a kind of like a cotton pad. It's coated in a petroleum-based product. And what you do is you just open it up a little bit and flick your Bic on it, and it'll light. You could set that under your tinder bundle, and it'll burn for a long time and get it going. And then, you know, as this is used up, you can slide the lid back and get more and more and more flame. Or when you're done, close it off and it goes out. It goes right back in your fire kit. So also in my fire kit, I have a nice stack of cotton gauze pads. It's more like a kind of a t-shirt material than a gauze pad. It's kind of a nice little 1.5 by 1.5 piece of cotton. This is good for making char cloth, and this container is perfect for cooking the char cloth. I haven't cooked this into char cloth yet, but at some point I will make this into char cloth. But otherwise, I mean, I could roll this, I could take some stuff off the live fire and roll it on here, or put some pine sap on here and get this cotton going before it is actually char cloth. I also have a nice piece of hardened steel that looks like a mustache. Yes, it does. It'll work on the ferrocerium rod. Put sparks out. I was able to get sparks off the arrowhead, but you got to be right down on it and striking it, because it is a stone, just a straight stone in the steel, and it's actually striking, it's eating the steel and making the steel is actually sparking. It's not the stone that's sparking. Whereas with the ferro rod, it's the ferro rod that is actually burning versus the steel. Also in the firebox, I have about a 3.5 inch piece of jute twine, which makes great tinder. You just pull a single piece off, just like you watched my previous video with the fire cord. You just break it apart, spread it apart into a nice fine bunch of fibers, and you throw a spark in that and you can get a nice ember going to get your tinder going. Also in here I have a little wallet pocket tool. It's got different size screws, a small compass, I guess a little saw that you could do a little bit with, a small cutting surface, screwdriver, bottle opener, which is important, but it is also made of hardened steel, so you can strike a ferro rod with it or whatever, or if in a dire emergency you can use this to
cut the eyebrows off your enemy.
Do a little bit of cutting. You can cut some stuff or something, but it's nice to just have it in there. It doesn't take up much room, it's not very heavy. But I put all this into my small little fire pack. I'll go ahead and pack it all in. My pocket box guitar picks, which I love. Those things light fire is great. They catch very fast. My cotton to use. My arrowhead. My lighter in there. Square it down a little bit. Close it up. Put my reindeer band on it so it stays closed. That's my EDC Fire Kit. Multiple ways to start a fire. Of course, number one is going to be my Bic. And then also have flint and steel. I have ferro rod and steel. I have cotton that I can put pine sap on, or I can make char cloth out of. Well, of course I have to have a fire ready to make char cloth from. But like that, I've got jute twine to catch an ember. I've got live fire in there. I have many ways to start a fire inside this small pack. Carry with me, it doesn't weigh more than 1/8 of a pound. I can throw this in my EDC kit, which I do. I carry this with me everywhere. If I have to, I've got it set. I can light a fire. I'm ready to go. Not only light a fire, but in multiple ways I can light a fire. So, nice little fire kit. I recommend you put one together yourself. Well, YouTube, I'm John from Beer, Bourbon and Bushcraft. Tonight, we talked about Avalanche Amber Style Ale, Maker's Mark Bourbon, and we went over a small EDC Fire Kit that everyone can carry. It has 6 or 7 ways of lighting a fire on it. So, appreciate if you go down and subscribe. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. And until next time, see ya. Yes, and everyone wanted to do another video, so now here we are. Everyone's laughing. We're all fucking shit-faced trying to do a goddamn video. Yeah, put that in the bloopers. Put that in the bloopers. Maker's Mark. Oh, excuse me.
Excuse me. I've been drinking a bunch tonight.
I've had a lot of fucking beer. And a burnt fucker. Now that's a tasty bourbon.
The big kahuna bourbon?
Yeah. This is the big kahuna bourbon.